They put her in flames, so that's really nice. And they say can't afford high tax Gina Sillitti. She voted to lower taxes, but not that that matters. Don't let Hochul and Sillitti destroy our neighborhoods. That's another really good one. Let's find one with Kim.
One where
the cat one. I love this cat one.
Yeah.
Are you a childless cat lady?
Yeah, they're doing the childless cat lady bits.
People are moving away from Long Island because of me.
Yeah, yeah. So all this is really good. But we're certainly hitting back. We're hitting back on Jack Martin's anti-abortion record. We're hitting back on his anti-gun safety record. And all of you coming out today to help support is exactly what we need. Because the best way to combat that is real conversations with voters at the doors, telling them the truth about this campaign. And so I believe we're going to have a few people speak today, and then we're all going to get out and knock on doors and do what's needed to win this race. So Lori, do you want to say a few words?
Sure. Hi, I'm Lori Radler. I am the Secretary of the Port Dems, and I am also Moms Demand Action volunteer for 2 years now. I became a volunteer after Uvalde. For me, that was enough was enough. I couldn't do that anymore. I have 2 kids, both of who've been victims of gun violence. Thank God they were both alive. One was in an active shooter event that turned out to be a phony phone call. She was hiding under her desk in the dark for an hour. She was a social worker in an elementary to high school college campus. My other daughter was mugged at gunpoint. The day before, the first sister that I talked about, the day before her graduation, she fought back. I went to grab her pocketbook, and she fought back. And so he slapped her in the head with the butt of a gun. And enough is enough. It's too close. It's just too close. So I've been an active volunteer, and that also gets you involved in elections and advocacy. And so I want to thank my brethren at Moms for coming out today and supporting Kim in our town. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Lori and I have worked very closely together for many, many years. And some of you are newer to me, but everybody is part of this community and this team. I want to invite Laura to say a few words, and Shanae as well.
So I'm Laura Burns. I am the Long Island Moms Demand Action Communications Lead, but I have been with Moms Demand Action since it was founded in response to the shooting at Sandy Hook School in Connecticut. I therefore kind of function, as these guys mostly know, as the crotchety old lady of Moms Demand Action who sits there and tells stories about like the history of Moms Demand Action and this happened and that happened. So I'm going to do that today. I'm going to tell you guys, in New York, one of the things about Moms Demand is that we didn't really get involved in elections and legislative work until 2018. In New York, we have really good gun laws. We have the second strongest gun laws in the country, which means we get to be leaders on gun safety legislation, as New York should always be one of the leaders in the country. And it means that if you guys have been to Gun Sense University or been on some of the national Zoom calls with our colleagues in other states, we know that we don't have to fight the kinds of horrific gun bills that they are fighting and the fights that they're fighting in other states. They are not where we are. For instance, our red flag law in New York was used specifically as an example, was written to be an example of a good, strong law that other states could use as a template for their own red flag laws when they get to that point. We are at the forefront, and that's where we like to stay. But we didn't get there by accident. We got there largely because in 2018, when we first decided, okay, it's time for New York to get involved in legislative work and campaign work, our one goal as Moms Demand Action, with our partners at Everytown and with our other partners in the gun violence prevention, battle, is we decided we are going to flip the New York State Senate. Yep, we're going to get a gun sense majority into the Senate. We're going to get people in the Senate who are going to vote for better gun safety laws in New York State specifically. That was our issue, and we worked night and day. That's when we learned how to be campaign workers, campaign volunteers. We learned how to canvass and phone bank and write postcards and all these things that, none of our volunteers knew how to do until then. And we worked our fingers to the bone. We really were very active. And we got a whole bunch of gun sense candidates into the New York State Senate. And one of the first things that our new gun sense majority did in office was they passed a whole bunch, I think it was 9 that year, of new gun safety laws in January, as soon as they were sworn in. And so for us, it's really obvious, it was a great object lesson, that when you volunteer and you work really hard, it can pay off in better legislation.
Yes.
And since then, we have been leaders in gun violence legislation in New York. And obviously, we've added a lot more laws in New York since then, because we have kept gun sense champions in office. We have, unfortunately, gone backwards a little bit in terms of keeping those people in office in the past couple of years. And now we need to get some of the seats back. We're going to start with Kim's.
Yes.
We're going to get Kim Keiserman into office. Because it has been shown, we have seen, that even though we've got these great laws, they're not safe. Because the gun lobby is always going to keep coming at us and finding a way to chip away at our successes. All the time, we have to be vigilant and keep that kind of great, strong gun sense leadership that we have in New York. We have to do that by having great candidates like Kim become great, legislators in the Senate. I know personally that Kim is going to be fantastic because I know how committed she is to being a gun sense leader. She took the Moms Demand Action Demand a Seat camp. She's wearing the shirt today and everything. That means that she went and had training on how to be a gun sense candidate, on what kinds of legislation are important to Moms Demand Action volunteers. She's one of us. And so for us, we talk to you ladies now, she's one of us. She's going to speak for us when she is in the Senate. She knows what we want because she wants it too. Her heart is in it. I know that she's prepared because she was willing to take time out of her life and go and take this boot camp training, and she's a demand a seat candidate. She's our candidate. We want her in office. We want one of us in office because who's going to be a better proponent for gun safety legislation than someone who's been fighting for gun safety legislation all along? So we're going to get Kim in there. We're in the home stretch. Everybody, we're in the home stretch of the campaign now. This is pedal to the metal time. We're going to canvass, we're going to phone bank, and we're going to talk to everyone we know all the time, even when we're not on the clock here on a canvass event. We're going to be obnoxious and talk to our neighbors and friends and be like, when are you voting? How are you voting? Are you going to vote early? Are you going to vote by mail? How are you voting? And I know it sounds really obnoxious for me to say that, but it's okay. We need to be pushing our friends. We need to be, this is in the service of democracy. And the one thing that I like to tell everyone, my friends and the people that I'm knocking on doors for, I like to say to everyone, hey, the minute you vote for early voting, your name comes off the list. And after a day or two, people stop calling you, and people stop knocking on your door, and they leave you alone. So it's in your best interest to get out and vote early as you can, and then we'll leave you alone. And everyone really likes that. Everyone really likes to hear that. So that's something you can say. So right now, it is all hands on deck for Kim for gun sense legislation in the Senate, and we're going to keep coming.
And Gina Sillitti, too.
Yeah, Gina Sillitti in the Assembly.
Yeah.
It's another great gun sense candidate. We've already got Tom, but we need to keep him there on the federal level. Let's do it.
Thank you, Laura. And Sinead, did you want to say a few words as well? Sinead and I were at Demand a Seat boot camp together out in Las Vegas.
Yes, we were. And thank you for running, Laura. That was a great intro. My name is Sinead Johnson, and unfortunately, I am a survivor of gun violence. My son, Kedrick Ali Marl Jr., he was killed at the age of 17, just a few weeks from his high school graduation, and he was supposed to attend college. And that's when I got on the front line to end gun violence. I ended up getting with Moms Demand Action a few years later because, as you know, everyday gun violence doesn't really get the attention as mass shooting. And when I got with Moms Demand Action, we helped show the world that, yes, there are everyday shootings in America that are happening, and we need to do something about it. And so I'm just glad to be a part of this group. They have always supported me. I've been a part of Moms Demand Action for 10 years. I've been with Laura for a very, very long time. And just thank you so much, Kim, for running for common sense gun laws. And no, we are not coming to take your guns away. We just want common sense gun laws to prevent the Kedricks of the world. Thank you.
Thank you. Sinead came really far to be here with us today. It really means a lot to me. So let me just start by saying that though I am not a survivor of gun violence, I say I'm a survivor of gun anxiety, because my grandparents had a lot of guns in their house, which they kept loaded, and when my grandfather descended into dementia, we couldn't get the guns away. And he was in Florida, where they did not have laws that made that easy to do. And if we had had those laws, we would have saved my family probably about 15 years of worrying about him and my grandmother as well. So I think that the issue that we have with the gun culture and with gun laws affects people in a myriad of ways that we don't even necessarily see. And so standing up for sensible gun legislation is standing up for families in so many little ways. I just want to say I'm wearing this t-shirt today because not only because I'm really proud of being a gun sense candidate and really proud that I participated in Demand a Seat, but also because it shows that I see myself as part of a community that I really value and care about, and that I feel inspired by and uplifted by. This community, Demand a Seat, which trains candidates to run for office and to be strong gun sense candidates, it's national, but it's also in so many different local places. So I'm proud to be part of this national community, but I'm also really proud to be part of this local community of amazing people who are fighting to make our world a better place, to make our nation a better place, to make New York State a better place, and to make Long Island a better place in so many different ways. Fighting for sensible gun laws is, to me, the centerpiece of fighting for a better world and fighting for a better democracy, because it's about fighting for majority rule. The majority of Americans, the majority of New Yorkers, the majority of Long Islanders believe in sensible gun laws, and yet we live in an era when we're unable to pass the laws that people believe in because of the control of a small, powerful, well-funded minority. And that's really what we're up against. And fighting for sensible gun laws is fighting for democracy. I want to say a few things about my campaign. We're fighting against a guy who is, well, he's waging a nasty campaign against us. He's saying so many things that are untrue, they're lies. He's sending out mailers where my face is green, and saying that people are leaving Long Island because of me, and saying that I'm funded by Chinese communists and all kinds of horrible things, right? Why is he doing that? Why? He's been in public life for 20 years. So why isn't he running on his record? Right? Why isn't he running on his accomplishments? And the reason is because his record is out of step with the values of the district that he seeks to represent. He doesn't represent us. He doesn't represent us on abortion rights. He doesn't represent us on the environment. He doesn't represent us on serving the needs of working class and middle class people. And he doesn't represent us on gun safety. In fact, he recently voted against a bill that would have taken guns out of the hands of domestic abusers. He recently voted against $347 million in funding for gun sense and gun safety projects, including $10 million that would have gone to law enforcement. So, what are we doing about it? We're running a campaign that focuses on keeping New York as a leader in gun sense and gun safety. Focused on a couple of things. In Nassau County,
we are not keeping up with Suffolk County and enforcing red flag laws. These red flag laws are part of what this new class of state senate members voted for when they were elected in 2018. These laws keep people safe. They save lives. Well, in Suffolk County, they're a leader in enforcing these laws. In Nassau County, we're lagging far behind. So this campaign is fighting to bring attention to that. And when I go to the New York State Senate, we'll make sure that every county in New York is providing law enforcement with the training that they need to enforce red flag laws on the level that Suffolk County is doing as the leader. We're also bringing attention to another little thing that's happening in Nassau County, which is the development of a very scary militia, which is being formed by the Nassau County Executive. This project empowers individuals who are gun owners to use their privately owned firearms in the case of an emergency. Meaning that in a chaotic situation, we could have individuals roaming our streets with firearms, feeling that they're allowed to use them, and we could have friendly fire incidents that threaten not only citizens and ordinary people, but law enforcement as well. So these are the two issues that I focused on in my campaign and that I would bring attention to as a state senator. I think that, having people who are focused on these issues is really important at every level. Even though New York is a leader, we cannot remain a leader if we have people who are funded and protected by the Conservative Party, as Jack Martin says, which opposes even common sense gun legislation. So thank you all for being in this fight with me. It means so much to see you all here today, and let's get out there and spread the word. Thank you.